Man, we're not even halfway through the year and there are already games out there being shut down. For some, it's a lack of engagement, others had a scope that was just too big to handle, and for some games, people just aren't playing them. It's unfortunate, but whether it's a live service game with no players, a game that flopped on release, or a title getting booted off of Steam, the bell tolls for these games. Babylon's Fall. As a fan of the company and a being that has Platinum coursing through my circuits, this first one hurts quite a bit. Platinum Games' action RPG live service Babylon's Fall closed its doors to the 7 people who bought it on February 27, 2023, just under a year after its March 3, 2022 release date. The game struggled to keep as few players interested and was once recorded as having a single concurrent player on stream shortly after launch. The game has since been pulled from all store shelves, both physical and digital. The Nintendo eShop. Wait, the eShop is closing? Quickly, go get to the Tears of the Kingdom page and... Oh, it's just for 3DS and Wii U. Oh, thank God. As of March 27th, you can't purchase any kind of content, redeem codes, or add funds to the 3DS or Wii U versions of Nintendo's online store, ending over a decade of service, and we thank you for your service. You'll still be able to download anything you already own, but it's not clear how much longer that will still be true, so start loading up on those memory cards now. It's sad to see the end of an era, sure, and video game preservation is incredibly important. Hopefully, though, Nintendo is doing this to free up resources for the Switch and future hardware. Spellbreak. If you didn't get a chance to play the magic-focused Battle Royale Spellbreak, it's unfortunately too late now. The game suffered declining player numbers after developer Proletariat removed the Team Deathmatch mode in favor of a 5v5 zone control mode in an update, and things never got better. But that's not what ultimately killed it. The day after they announced Spellbreak was shutting down, news broke that Blizzard would be acquiring Proletariat, who was already helping them with World of Warcraft development. The magic ended this past January, ending Spellbreak's 4-year legacy since its development began. Natural Selection 2. Originally launched in 2012, Natural Selection 2 is a co-op multiplayer shooter that pits monstrous aliens against humans with guns. It's pretty cool, and it's been supported for 10 years with over 117 updates to the game. The continued efforts to make Natural Selection 2 better all the time came as a joint effort between its developer, Unknown Worlds, and its loving, dedicated community. However, all good things must come to an end, and although Natural Selection 2 isn't necessarily going away, the active development enjoyed for so many years has ended. Nerf Ultimate Championship VR. Have you ever played with Nerf blasters with your friends? Do you ever wish you could play just without the fear of being pelted by hundreds of foam darts from all angles and then the dread of having to clean all of them up afterwards? Well, that was the dream Secret Location's Nerf Ultimate Championship VR tried to make a reality. The game itself seemed like it was probably pretty fun and foam dart free, but you aren't able to buy it anymore, and you won't even be able to play it if you already own it after August 31st. Secret Location has delisted the game from the MetaQuest store, and they'll be pulling the plug on the game for good on that day in August. This is the result of Secret Location itself being shut down by its parent company, Hasbro. Yes, the same people who made Transformers and own Dungeons & Dragons. Apex Legends Mobile. Apex Legends is one of the premier competitive FPS experiences on PC and consoles, and for a while it also made a splash on smartphones. It was downloaded 46 million times and named the mobile game of the year for both Apple and Google in 2022. Apex Legends Mobile was launched in May 2022, and EA will be shutting it down on May 1st, 2023. Citing the game's content pipeline falling short of the company's expectations. Apex Legends Mobile was developed by an external company, and since EA's statement also included a mention of a reimagined, connected Apex Legends mobile experience sometime in the future, probably just wanted to bring their super popular game in-house. I can see right through you, EA. I've been playing this game long enough. Battlefield Mobile. Another mobile version of a popular EA game is also being shut down. Battlefield Mobile, the smartphone version of the competitive online shooter, had its cancellation announced at the same time as Apex Legends Mobile. While the game can still be downloaded and played for an unknown amount of time, Battlefield Mobile has had its active development shut down and will end its service at some point. Could EA be doing the same thing with Battlefield Mobile as they are with Apex Legends? I don't know. Only time will tell. Crime Site. Konami has kind of been in the doghouse for a while. The cancellation of Silent Hills, the feud with Hideo Kojima, Metal Gear Survive. It's been rough, but they've been trying to turn things around by taking chances on some new game ideas, one of which was the anime Minority Report Sherlock Holmes social deceit game, Crime Site. The concept for the game is undoubtedly interesting, but the game really flopped hard. I'm guessing most of you haven't even heard of it. Sales of the game ended on February 27th, 2023, and the game will be unplayable from May 1st, just over a year after its April 2022 release. Crossfire X, the competitive live service FPS that also had a campaign mode developed by Remedy Entertainment, was also the subject of some bad news around its first anniversary. The game will be shut down on May 18th, and sales for the game as well as content development have already been stopped. In the case of a game with an online and single-player component, you might think that you would still be able to play solo, but Crossfire X's single-player campaign will also be taken away along with its online portion in May. Final Fantasy VII First Soldier. Included in Square Enix's plans for the celebration of Final Fantasy VII was a smartphone battle royale game called Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier. It seemed to be an interesting melding of Final Fantasy concepts and battle royale gameplay, with different character classes, magic, and even rideable chocobos, all included in battles with up to 75 players. Unfortunately, the game didn't live up to the experience Square had originally intended, and began winding the game down in October 2022. Service for the game ended in January 2023. Hellfire Tactics feels like it kinda missed the auto battler craze that started in 2019, and its developer Jay Waffle unfortunately also noticed. In the midst of some personal issues, they were unable to dedicate time to develop content and support the indie game for a period of time. In those weeks, player engagement experienced a sharp decline. Unable to support the game or cover the cost, Jay Waffle made the decision to shut the game down, as was outlined in a post they made to the game's Steam community. Hellfire Tactics launched in November 2022 and was shut down at the end of February 2023 for a total of 3 months of service. Knockout City. I didn't go to school, so I never got to play dodgeball, but I did play Knockout City, which seems like it was probably the closest thing I could get. Crazy abilities, complex arenas, y'all had that stuff too, right? That seemed pretty standard. The free-to-play over-the-top dodgeball game launched in May of 2021, so it's actually been around for quite some time. Its continued support seems to have been thanks to a concerted effort by its developer, Valon Studios. EA initially published the game and provided the servers, but Valon took over publishing duties and changed the servers to Epic's online services in 2022. They gave it their best shot, but Valon announced earlier this year that the game would be shutting down on June 6th. 2023. Serious fans will still be able to enjoy a Windows version of the game with private servers after the final online match is played in June. Rumbleverse. Of all of the free-to-play competitive online service games that exploded onto the scene in the past few years, I thought for sure that Rumbleverse would be the one to stick around. Developed by Divekick and Killer Instincts creators Iron Galaxy, Rumbleverse made a pretty solid impression with its goofy cartoon aesthetic and backed up its looks with some really impressive brawling mechanics that fit perfectly into its pro wrestling themed world. Unfortunately, none of that was enough, and Rumbleverse might have the fastest launch to shut down timeline in any big game on this list. It launched in August 2022 and was shut down in February 2023. Just 6 months of service before it said its goodbyes. Dreadnought. There are only a handful of games that have allowed me to live out my Captain Picard dreams, but Dreadnought was definitely one of them. The free-to-play spaceship combat game put you in charge of massive, hulking vehicles, and threw you into battles that took so much strategy and planning, just as much as it did blowing up other enemy ships. What more could you ask for in a game? Well, unfortunately, maybe a few more people to play it with. Due to a player base that never really grew and the work and money involved with keeping the servers going, the game's developer, 6FOOT, announced last December that the game would be shutting down on March 19th, 2023. But then, a flash of light in the darkness, the game's sunset period was later extended to July 11th, giving fans a few more months to enjoy. But if you haven't already downloaded the game, you're just gonna have to wave goodbye portside, since it has been removed from the Steam and PlayStation stores. Marvel's Avengers. Who else saw this coming? The writing was on the wall for the last game on this list basically from the day that it launched. Marvel's Avengers is a story-based action-adventure live service game developed by Crystal Dynamics and published by Square Enix. The game's live service components were almost immediately panned along with many aspects of its gameplay, but the constant stream of story content released for it was met with a resounding meh. Just look at the footage of Spider-Man after it got added to the game. Yikes. Crystal Dynamics had a good run, but just a few months ago they finally announced Marvel's Avengers would be shut down and delisted in September of this year, and the final update coming on March 31st. After that last update, all of the cosmetic items in the game will be available for free so you can dress up your Avengers before sending them off. It doesn't make me happy to say goodbye to so many games, even if no one was playing them. Sometimes people work hard on things and they just don't pan out as they hoped. But that's okay, because you can always dust yourself off and try again. Same goes for you too. I believe in you. Now, go make something great.